Very good. Okay. So we were in the middle of Pasuk Gimel. Pasuk Gimel, Pasuk Dalet. Yeah. We spoke about the Yehudiyut, about the special place in creation that Am Yisrael plays and has, and how HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ita'uz Noli, right? He puts his ear down, Ubiyama Yekra, and that's how I can be Meshabeach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Afafuni Hevle Mavet. There's the surrounding of the chains of death, Sheol, and the tightness and the challenges of Sheol, Mitzauni, found Mitzah Ve'agonemsa. Ubeshem Hashem Ekra, and the Maharal tells us is through challenges that the person lets go of the physical influence that it has on his mind, and through that he finds clarity, prays to Hashem, and connects to Hashem, and brings the beracha upon him through the challenges, through the nisyonot. That's where we left off last year. So, Ana Hashem maleta nafshi, right? So in the pasuk dalet, Ubeshem Hashem ekra, the vav of Ubeshem Hashem ekra, and I praise and I call up to Hashem, is the outcome of pasuk Gimel, of all the challenges that David HaMelech had, right? From all those challenges, I ended up calling Hashem. Maharal says, the calling, the Ubeshem Hashem ekra, when I call upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, obviously it's a Yud Ke Vav Ke that represents mercy, right? I call upon Hashem's mercy when I'm struggling, when the person is overwhelmed with the challenges that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings upon him. And then it doesn't stop here. Ana Hashem maleta nafshi. Hashem, please, okay, save, free, redempt my soul. So that's part of the calling. Ubeshem Hashem ekra, I call upon Hashem's mercy and rachamim, and I tell Hashem, Anna, please, Hashem, maleta nafshi, free my nefesh. Here the Maharal adds an amazing dimension. He says, free myself, redeem me from who? Minakamim alai, from all the ones that wish me bad. And he says, and what? And because the tzaddikim nimlatim v'noshaim min hagehinam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a free pass card to the tzaddikim. When the person is a tzaddik, when a person serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'tzedek, what he doesn't know is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a machlaka, has a class that is called the class of the tzaddikim, right? On a plane, you have a first class, business class, economy, right? In HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have also different classes. You have the Reshaim, the Benonim, and the Tzadikim, right? We know it on the Rosh Hashanah. Sifrei Chaim Umetim, right? What are you? Are you a Rasha, a wicked? Are you a Benoni? Or are you a Tzadik? The Tzadikim have what is called a class of their own, and that class separates them from Gehinnom. What does that mean? They do not fall in Gehinnom. They are not subject or influenced by the people that belong in Gehinnom. In this world. So says David HaMelech, Ana Hashem maleta nafshi, please Hashem, save me, free me from the ones that wish me bad, from the ones that belong in their actions and in their deeds and values and emotions in Gehinnom. And because I don't belong there, and because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I serve you as much as I can, I love you and I care for you and I try to be a tzaddik, please do not allow the influence of these people to have an impact on my life. Why do I request such a big request? Because I don't belong in the same class as them. So besides for being a tzaddik and having all the positive actions and all the good deeds and the benefits of doing the right thing, you are also protected from all the bad. De facto. And when you are challenged and when you are facing troubles, or you're amongst people that wish you bad, or surrounded by people that are envy, that are jealous, that just want to see negativity or failure in you, you have the ability at that moment to tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay, protect me because of the fact that I don't belong in the same category. So let not their influence me. It cannot pass through the membrane. Yeah, it cannot get through the curtains. You know, when you sit in business, they don't allow economy pass. Yeah? And you're sitting first, they don't allow people in the back. Sorry, you cannot. We close those curtains. We tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look, I behave like a tzaddik. I'm in first class, right? So please make sure that whoever in business class is trying to come and do balagan, leave him in business, okay? This is what David HaMelech is telling you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, when I'm surrounded by negativity, by jealousy, by anger, by reshaim, by Ovdei Avodah Zarah, that try to influence, Hashem has mercy on me, and please impose that difference. Not only by the proactivity, but by the protection also.
Do you trigger Hashem's receptiveness to that prayer by genuinely reaching towards him?
Yes.
Like if you say those words without genuinely wanting Hashem's protection, without do you still bring down the reward?
There is an element. Yeah. Okay. So you're touching into another subject. Okay.
I'm sorry if I'm diverting. If you want to shelf it, we could shelf it and come back to it.
No, I can address it. I can address it quickly because it's very important. But it's completely it's a sidetrack. Okay. It's a completely sidetrack, but I think it's important to understand. The Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, in that Daf Samechei Amud Aleph, page 65. The Gemara says that Akimat Sefatav hayu heve ma'aseh. The gesture of the lips is considered an action. That's one Gemara. And you have another Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, Daf Kuf Yutet Amud Bet. The Gemara says the Dibur Maaseh is considered an action. Two Gemarot that basically tell us that your Dibur, what you say, is an action. The Ben Ishra in Od Yosef Chai, in his book Od Yosef Chai, okay, in Parashat Vayishlach, at the end of the first response of the first question that he brings, he says, he was asked a question. And the question is, if a person doesn't have kavanah, should he still say, even though he's not saying it? So the Ben Ishai answers based on these gemarot, right? And there's the Nefesh HaChaim it talks about it in Sha'ar Gimel. That the dibur, when you speak, right, is as if you did something, even though you didn't have kavanah. Right? And the Ben Ish Chai brings the Ari HaKadosh at the end by saying the following. He says, the dibur is the nefesh. The feeling of the dibur is the ruach. The kol. When you say something, your lips and the structure of the words is the nefesh. The ruach, the voice that comes out, usually the intonation of the voice depends on your emotion, and that's the ruach. And what you understand from what you say is the neshama, right? So obviously, says the Ben Ish Chai, if you only have the neshama and you don't have the body, if you have all the kavanot in the world but you don't say anything, you didn't do anything, right? Right. So you have to say and build from bottom up, right? So even if you don't have the full kavanah, saying it has an impact. It doesn't have the best impact, but it has an impact.
And good. When David, perfect. And when you could see the emotion in everything that David HaMelech writes. It's so much emotion in every pasuk.
For sure.
And did Hashem comfort him because of that emotion?
Oh, wait a second. We're getting there. Yes. Yes, we're getting there. 1 second. That's the next pesukim.
Okay.
I know you're too fast for me. I'm very slow.
No, sorry.
So the Maharal in this pasuk says, and I want to read his words because he's saying, "Vehu ma'ala gedola latzaddikim." One of the greatest strengths the tzaddikim have in this world is that they are shielded if they request from the influence of the Rashaim. It's not that they're different from the Rasha because they do right and the Rasha does wrong. Is that they are also protected from the influence of the Rasha. The indirect impact. And says the Maharal, this is one of the great values, one of the great outcome of the tzaddik. Now we continue. Hanun Hashem v'tzaddik. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he is merciful, right? He has Hanun, and he's tzaddik, and he's honest, meaning a tzaddik, and he's straight, right? He's fair. Ve'Elohenu merachem, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu has kindness upon us, has compassion upon us. Now, David HaMelech, he says, Hanud Hashem v'tzaddik. You know, when he says the Maharal, a continuation, Shem Hashem Ekha, right? So we start from a place of struggle. Okay. Now, so how do I turn this around? How do I turn the struggle into beracha? How do I bring the Yeshua? Good. So, Ubshem Hashem Ekha. I call upon Hashem's mercy. Ana Hashem maleta nafshi. And I'm using the fact that I'm a tzaddik to ask for the protection. Hanun Hashem v'tzaddik, says the Maharal, when David HaMelech says how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so gracious and so kind and so just and so merciful and so compassionate, says the Maharal, David HaMelech brings down by saying those words the Tov of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He brings the Chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Le'amshich HaTova, he brings down the good. Ve'Elokenu merachem, lerachem al hatzara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is compassionate so that HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels bad that you feel bad. So he says, Ve'Elokenu merachem, the second portion of Elokeinu Merachem is, I'm asking God, you HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to feel my pain. Shomer Peta'im, and you make sure that Pasuk Shomer Peta'im, HaKadosh Baruch Hu protect the simple ones. Petty, the simple-minded one. Daloti, I'm low, I am empty, and even though he saves me, right? So here David HaMelech is exposing his efforts and his prayers to Hashem to be saved and blessed from what the challenges that he's facing. So he's saying, from a tzaddik perspective, I'm asking from protection. And I'm asking you to have mercy to feel the pain that I'm feeling. But you know what? I'm not even a tzaddik. From the simple level of who I am, let's say I'm not a tzaddik and I'm a simple guy. I'm a petty. I'm simple-minded. I don't think. I don't know. Shomer Peta'im Hashem, you still protect us. From what? From losing us. Even if I'm simple and I don't bring you too much, you still don't want to lose Am Yisrael, to lose us. So I'm using that aspect of me also. And if that's not enough, Daloti Veli Yehoshua. Not only that, I am very low. Forget there's simple, and then there is negative. Yeah, I'm in the negative. I'm close to the zero. Daloti, I'm very low. I have afshani dala mina mitzvot. I don't have anything. I cannot bring mitzvot in front of you and say, you know, I did this, I did that. I'm worthy. Any klum. Veli Yehoshua. Na'el Yehoshua, says the Gemara. I'm still worthy to be saved. David HaMelech starts from a point of strength and slowly brings down, comes down to the reality by facing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you start talking to Hashem, you're starting from your perspective, right? When you engage in the conversation, it's from your starting point, from your position, the position of a tzaddik, David HaMelech. But as you get closer and deeper in the conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you realize how unworthy you are, how simple you are, to the point where Daloti Veli Yehoshua, I'm nobody. But yet, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm worthy to be saved because I love you and because I beg for you. B'Shem Hashem Ekha.
And that's like almost like Yom Kippur. It's like you're elevating yourself all the way to the point of being that humble. Like it's like an inverse relationship of getting closer to Hashem by losing almost your own idea or respect of yourself as you get closer to Hashem.
Yom Kippur is a little different because on Yom Kippur you enter Yom Kippur in the quarters of HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Right, but I'm saying all year until you get there, right? All year we think,
we're
great.
Yes, until you get to Yom Kippur, yes.
Yes, that's what I mean. All year we're great, we're doing this, we're doing that, all the way until, that's why it's almost like the height of the year, right? Because you're in Hashem's quarters, and that's when you're your most humble.
Correct. Once you enter Yom Kippur, yes, correct.
Yes. Correct. Yeah, I didn't mean the day of Yom Kippur. I meant leading up to it. Yes. Sorry.
So continues David HaMelech. He's, here you see how the secrets of David HaMelech on how he was saved from Shaul and from being killed by Shaul, and how he was protected by Hashem, and how he was able to turn darkness into light. Almost like the sword of Hanukkah. How did the Maccabi turn darkness into light? Turned the struggle of the Greeks into the Yeshua of the Kohanim. Davar nifla me'od of the Maccabim and the Kohanim and bringing back the light. David HaMelech tells us, this is what I did. This is what I did. So after he got to such a low level of daloti, I have nothing. Beli Yoshia, but I'm begging, please. I'm still worthy to be saved. Now he's at the lowest point. Now he can talk to himself on an eye-to-eye, on a realistic level. That's the next pasuk. Shuvi nafshi, calm down, my nefesh. Shuvi nafshi, limnu haychi, and be rested. Be rested, be calm, be nice, be at rest. Not my nefesh. Nafshi akavana, not nishmati. Nafshi is the lowest spiritual level of the man, right? That's the nefesh. Shuvi nafshi limnu haychi, be at rest, my nefesh. Ki Hashem gamal alaychi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does always chesed. He does always. Shehu gomer chesed alay. Here we see that in order to appease, another big lesson, in order to appease your nefesh, the nefesh is what we struggle with, right? The pain that we have interacting with people and emotions and blah, 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 is what receptor, what connection, what sensor is the sensor that actually receives and absorbs all this pain, the shock, right? The buffer is the nefesh. The spiritual buffer, our buffer is the nefesh, right? And then he resonates inside on the ruach. Yes? So if you want to appease your nefesh, you need to get down to it. You need to let go of that level of tzidkut that you believe you are, and be humble. And that's how you heal yourself. And that's how you learn to be calm. That's how you master your essence. Not to be reactive, not to be under the influence of others, of situations, not to be to feel the pain. By absorbing, by letting go of the air that there exists between the level of the tzaddik and of the daloti, letting go of this, seeing HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his chesed and believing in it, and in the lowest of your levels, Shuvi nafshi limnu haychi. Now you can be at rest, my soul, because you know for sure HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you.
It's very similar to what we learned yesterday in Shir HaShirim. You have to know yourself in order to be able to get close to Hashem.
Yes. Nachon. It's only, but it's amazing. It's like it's peeling the onion until you get to the core. It's once you get to the core that you are now one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You are one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you understand it's all chesed. So you're protected. There's no more third-party impact on your essence.
I have to tell you, it's amazing to see the contrast between David and Shlomo and his son. You know, there's of course a lot of similarities, but also differences. It's very, very interesting when you get it side by side.
Well, now he's talking from a place of pain, because he's being threatened by Shaul. Shaul wants to kill him. He's running away. Shlomo HaMelech is talking from a place of strength. He's the king, right? He's accomplished
until Shir HaShirim.
Yes. Let's continue. You saved me, right? You redeemed me. You saved me. You delivered me from death. Et enai min dim'ah. Now that's the acknowledgement of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's influence and engagement and impact and involvement in one's life. Okay, very important. Now you're at the lowest, right? And you're recognizing that everything you have is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and He's chesed, and He will protect you, and He will always protect you, right? Now how do you acknowledge that situation, right? That reality on a practical level in your own life of what you've become, what you have experienced. Because there's one thing of stating a statement, and there's another thing making a statement and backing it with experience, past experience, right? And that's what David HaMelech right now is doing. Another huge lesson. You make something, you say something, you want to recognize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you. You want to strengthen your emunah. It's not by just saying, well, you know, I have emunah, I have bitachon. No. You have bitachon, and you know why you need bitachon? Because A, B, C, D, E, that has been done to you. The same thing with emunah. Here, David HaMelech is building strength of emunah on the lowest level of his essence, believing that Hashem will do chesed no matter what. And how does he strengthen that belief? You delivered me from death. You saved my eyes from tears. And my feet, my legs from stumbling and falling. Says the Maharal, a two-dimensional hidush. He says, why does David HaMelech speak about three different interactions with Hashem? Hashem is involved on three levels. Hilatzta nafshi min mavet, you saved my soul from death. Et eini min dimha, my eyes from tears, and my legs from scrambling and falling, right? Stumbling and falling. He says these are the three. He says that the person has three levels of challenges. Amen. Has three levels of challenges. One level is when the life gives a strike that never allows the person to stand back up. It's one of those challenges that Hashem Yishmor come, they knock out the person, he never stands up again. That mavet, that's mavet. Labdavka death. Something in the person dies. Yeah. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, David HaMelech, you always here to protect me from those knockouts that people don't stand on their feet again from. How many of them, lo aleinu, we're not even aware, or challenges that we see around people, lo aleinu, that got wiped out and never came back, never stood back. Hashem Yishmor, and yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects us from it. Et eini min dim'a. He says the tears, the afisat koach, is when you have no more strength anymore, and yet there's no room, nowhere you can find that energy, that power, that hope to stand back and fight again. That also, no matter what, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you always, as down as a person can be, you always give a little bit of light, a spark of hope to start again. No, you know what? It didn't work. I stand back on my feet and I do it again. Where does that hope comes from? Yeah. The tears, says Shlomo, the Maharal, the tears come when a person has no more hope, has no more koach. When there's no more strength, you don't know where to turn. That's when people cry, right? Says David HaMelech, HaKadosh Hu always, no matter what, finds a way to make sure I stop crying, right? Or that it's not a cry of eternity. Et ragli midehi. He says that's the tsar be'alma. When does a person fall? When the person is losing his koach, right? When he doesn't have koach, he falls. He falls. When the person cannot, that's physical, right? That's the physical koach. Then you have the emotional koach, and then you have the spiritual koach. In all three, no matter what, you always pull me out. There's always a Yeshua somewhere. How important it is for us in the building of our emunah, the building of our bitachon, no matter what the situation is, to recognize and remember that there are cases where people collapse, where people don't find the strength emotionally, or just they never wake up. They never stand back up from a knockout. And here HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us always the strength. It's in us. It's in us, David HaMelech. He talks to himself and he says, you know why Hashem will save me? You know why Hashem gamal alaychi? You know why Hashem will have chesed upon me no matter what? Because of this. This is what we say every day before we say the bracha of Magen Avraham in the Amidah. We say Melech, Ozer, Moshiach, Umagen. Ozer is help. Moshiach is save. Umagen is protect. Right? Help, save, and protect. Help is when you see someone, Ozer, yeah, you see somebody, he's falling, you help him to stand back up. That help. Ozer. Moshiach is what? Is when something is coming at you, and that's it. It's the end, and boom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and saves you. Umagen, what's Magen? Magen is a protection. Hashem is a protection. It's when you never see the threat. He's in front, right? You have a shield, and you're behind the shield. You never see the threat coming at you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects us on 3 levels. We say it 3 times a day, every day. Melech, Ozer, Moshiach, Umagen. Baruch Ata Hashem, Magen Avraham. You're the Magen of Avraham, right? You're the Avraham is Chesed. You want the Chesed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like David HaMelech says, is if you recognize these 3 layers of protection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu daily. That's how you trigger the chesed, no matter what level of tzidkut you are in. Even if you're at the lotiv Eliyoshia, you're at the lowest level.
So when you're saying Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, are you supposed to internalize
Chesed,
what
Gevurah,
each one?
Tiferet. Chesed, Gevurah, and Tiferet, Vadai.
Because you're trying to draw upon that
Koach,
attribute from Hashem.
that attribute, exactly. But look how accurate it is. David HaMelech tells us what he did in order to trigger the chesed and bring mercy, kindness, and abundance upon him. He's consolidated that emunah and that acknowledgement of the protection of the levels of the 3 levels of protection that Hashem has on him. And that's what we say every day in order to say Baruch Ata Hashem, Magen Avraham. That's the sword of Magen Avraham. Here we see it in that bracha. In those pesukim of the Hallel. That's what we're meshabeach HaKadosh Baruch Hu when we say the Hallel. With all this, pasuk tet. With all this, et halech lifnei Hashem. Now, mechila. He has another hidush, another pirush, another explanation to those 3 different layers. He says a person is made of 3 types of tsurot, 3 types of constellation. One of them is the spiritual constellation that is separated from physicality, which is the sechel, right? Then there is the structure of spirituality in physicality, okay, which are related to the eyes, because the eye takes all the physicality and brings its structure and absorbs it for the nefesh to understand it. So it's like the connective point. And then you have the physical structure of the physical body itself, right? So says the Maharal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us on these three levels. And again, it's the same hidush, but from a different angle. Hashem protects the tzura, your spiritual structure, your hybrid structure, and your physical structure, right? So says the Maharal, you need to make sure that you exist in those three layers, that you do have a spiritual structure, that you do have a metaphysical or a hybrid structure, which is the shmirat ha'inayim, the tara, to have pure eyes, and then the physical structure, which is the structure of your body, depending on your actions that you do, and that's the raglei chasida. So, kihilatzta nafshi mimavet, you saved my nefesh from death, is not spiritual structure. Et einim min dim'a, my eyes from tears, is what is the hybrid structure, is the spiritual structure that exists in physicality, right? Et ragli midehi, my legs from stumbling and falling, is what is the structure of the body, the physical actions that you do. Good. So you have to have a structure in your thought. You have to have a structure in what you allow yourself to see and be exposed to, and you have to have a structure with your body, which is your actions and what you do. Depending on your structures on this three-dimensional aspect of your essence, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings down around it the level, a specific level of protection. So the more refined your structure is, and the more intense and protective the layer of protection of Hashem is, right? The more special and the more valuable something is, and the more you protect it. Right? So depending on what we do on each layer, we will be zocheh to a protection. But no matter what, there is a protection. That's the second hidush of the Maharal on this pasuk. So based on all this, and this strength, and this hizuk, and this emunah, and this bitachon that David HaMelech injected himself and awoke within him, he speaks to himself and he screams out, pasuk tet, Et halech lifnei Hashem, I will walk in front of Hashem. What does it mean? Et halech lifnei Hashem. Et halech lifnei Hashem. I will walk in front of Hashem. Hashem is always in front of me, so I will always keep on walking. Et halech lifnei Hashem. As long as Hashem is in front of me, et halech, I will keep on walking. Be'artzot ha'chayim, in the lands of life, says the Maharal, it's Eretz Israel. So ask the Maharal, 1 second. So why didn't it say Eretz Israel? Why does it mean artzot in plural, ha'chayim of life? He says because every dimension of 7 equals to kedusha, right? 7 days, Shabbat, Kadosh. 7 years, Shemitah, Kadosh. 7 cycles of 7, Yovel, Kadosh. Right? Number 7 is a Kadosh, Kedusha. Says that Maharal, Eretz Israel is made of what? Of the land of the 7 people, right? That Am Israel took over. So David HaMelech is referring now to the Kedusha of Eretz Israel in order to bring out Hayim life. So he says, Be'artzot, the lands, in plural, referring to the 7 parcels of land of the 7 people that together makes Eretz Israel, that represents the Kedusha of the land, HaHayim, in order to bring life and stay alive. Here the Maharal comes and tells us, David HaMelech is telling himself, you know how I will survive all the challenges? Number one, because Hashem is in front of me, and as long as Hashem is in front of me, I will always walk. And because I am attached to the Kedusha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not only an idea, it's a dimension of Kedusha that is here. There is an energy of Kedusha. There is a bond of interaction that's called Kedusha that brings me life. This is what keeps me alive. Is the Kedusha in my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the major difference you find between people that learn Torah without Kedusha and the ones that learn Torah with Kedusha. He'emanti pasuk Yud. Now I believe. Ki adaber. After I spoke, after I've explained to myself this situation, after I brought clarity through the dibur, through the explanation, through bringing down and crystallizing pragmatically what has been happening to me, ani aniti me'od. Now I've answered myself a lot of questions. I brought clarity to a lot of confusion. Ani aniti me'od. Ani amarti, you know why? Originally, ani amarti behofzi. Because when I was running for my life and I was under the threat and I was reactive and compulsive and not thinking and just, being so much stress and not thinking, amarti, I said lightly, behofzi, out of anger, out of emotion, out of pain. Kol ha'adam kozev. There is no faith in man. All people are garbage. All people are bad. All people are liars. There's nothing good. There's no positive outcome to humanity. So what's the point of living? This is what David HaMelech was thinking while afafuni hevle mavet, when he was under this threat. He was depressed. He gave up. He gave up. That's the emotional reaction to pain and stress and challenge, is to give up. David HaMelech says, ani amarti behofzi. When the ani took out, when I faced the challenges with the ani, with the ego, amarti behofzi. I reacted and I spoke too fast. I reacted too fast. Kol ha'adam kozev. There's no way out. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. I'll never make it. There's no chance. However, ki adaber, but when I started dibur, I started talking properly. I was tough with myself. I reorganized my thoughts. I started dwelling into the real interaction Hashem has with me. Ani aniti me'od. I answered a lot of questions that led to so much hiush, that led to so much darkness and disappointment and frustration and lack of hope. And it's through ki adaber, through this dibur and clarity, emanti, I brought back emunah and was zoche to have this Yeshua. And that's what allowed me to ki beshem Hashem ekra that we said earlier. Okay? Now we can start the next level of praise that we'll see next shiur, pasuk bet. Ma'ashiv l'Hashem ki tagmor. How can I thank Hashem enough? That's next Be'ezrat Hashem, next shiur. But here David HaMelech throws at us this. The way a person deals with challenges, and these are not our challenges. These are the challenges of David HaMelech running for his life. Nifla me'od. Incredible lesson. Incredible lesson from David HaMelech. Kama hizuk, kama davar nifla. The Maharal enlightens us with his wisdom in this Hallel. Incredible.
Amazing
Now,
to see the journey.
Tomorrow, all of us, when we're going to say, Ahavti Ishma Hashem et koli tahanunai, when we're going to say this Perek Tehillim during the Hallel, I can assure you your Hallel will be different. 100%. We need to take few minutes before Shabbat and go through the analysis that David HaMelech did to himself. How does HaKadosh Baruch Hu protect me on these 3 layers? What does he do for me? Nifla, I'm telling you, your Hallel will be different. Your Rosh Chodesh will be different. Your Shabbat will be different. This is Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, and Hanukkah. The orot that we can bring down this Shabbat are incredible.
Tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh?
Yeah, but that tomorrow and Sunday.
Wow.
Rav, before we go,
a segula, big segula, that the Ben Ish Chai brings it, is brought also by Rabbi Chaim Palaji, is on Rosh Chodesh Tevet, which is Shabbat, but you cannot do it because it's Shabbat and Sunday. So we do it Erev Shabbat, before you light the candles of Hanukkah, light a ner in Lechvod Rabbi Meir Ba'al HaNes. We have the light of Rabbi Meir Ba'al HaNes with it, Rabbi Meir Meta. Okay? Light today, so today for Shabbat and Sunday, you light an olive oil candle in honor of Rabbi Meir Ba'al HaNes. You take 18 prutot, $18, 18 peso, and you say this 18 it's dollars are for tzedakah. You do it every day. So you get, okay? 18 is high. And you pray, B'zchut Rabbi Meir Ba'al HaNes, and you ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for besorot tovot. You say, Hashem, I want good news. The Rabbi Chaim Palaji and the Ben Ish Chai say, Badukum say that if you do it for the kavod of Rabbi Meir, and you have emunah, what your request will be exhausted right away, and you have 2 chances.
Amen.
18 is high. 36 lamedvav tzaddikim, right? The 36 tzaddikim, the 36 pillars, right? We spoke about it. So you give hayim, you bring hayim upon yourself. Whatever that definition of hayim means to you, you bring life. B'zchut Rabbi Meir Ba'al HaNes.
Chazak u'baruch.
Thank
you for everything, Rav.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The candles. What time do we have to light Hanukkah versus Shabbat tonight?
You light the candles of Hanukkah before Shabbat, Nerot Shabbat, but you put enough oil that it lasts until 30 minutes past night time. Okay? So
what time?
I don't know. Shabbat is, I think, around 4, no? Something like that.
I'll find out. Okay.
We pray Mincha Gedolah. We pray important to pray Mincha Gedolah if we can. Okay, today.
What time?
I can start. I think from 1 o'clock, 12:45. You can already start praying Mincha Gedolah. It's better to pray Mincha Gedolah with tzibur. Huh? In every synagogue today, you're going to have a lot of Mincha Gedolah because that's what we have to do. So you pray Mincha Gedolah. You come home benahat. You get ready for Shabbat Kodesh with your clothes of Shabbat, your perfume. You look good. You smell good. You light the Nerot Hanukkah, B'yishuv Hadaat, okay, Benahat Ruach, not last minute, okay? We don't run anywhere today. B'yishuv Hadaat, with the proper kavanot. After that, your wife lights Nerot Shabbat. You know, both Nerot Shabbat and Nerot Hanukkah are both the light of Or HaGanuz. And Ma'alin B'Kodesh, right? So it's a davar gadol me'od that we bring these 2 dimensions of Or HaGanuz, which is called Hanukkah and Shabbat together. So you light Nerot Hanukkah, and right after that your wife light Nerot Shabbat, and you both look at both Nerot. You 2 look at the Nerot Hanukkah, and you both look at the Nerot Shabbat, and you have in mind Ner, Nun Resh. It's okay not to know all the kavanot, but you have in mind that whatever, all the sodot, all the secrets of the combination of these two letters, Nun and Resh, should be a source of blessing for Shalom Bayit, for Nisim and miracles upon us and all our family. And you look at each other after in the eyes, having in mind that the Kedusha of the light of Hanukkah and the Kedusha of the Nerot Shabbat that cleaned and elevated your eyes are now shared between you and your wife.
Tell us one sod in Nun Resh.
Are we still on recording?
Yes, we're still recording. So I can tell you, I tell you, okay, if you take the otiyot of the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay, if you take the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yud, Ke, Vav, Ke, right, and Ekye, Aleph, He, Yud, and He, so the together, okay, and then you have Yud, Ke, Vav, Ke, and Elohim together, and then you take Yud, Ke, Vav, Ke, and Amonai, Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud, together you have 25 letters, okay? Then Nun is 50, Resh is 200, that's 250. So the small gematria is 25. The beauty is that if you take the gematria of all these shemot, is 250.
Whoa, nice power. So Ner is
So Ner is the Yehud between the Chokhmah and the Binah, which is Yud Ke Vav Ke and Ekye. It's the Yehud of the Chokhmah or of the Tiferet and the Elohim, which is the Bchina of the Gevurot of the Chasadim, right? And it's also the Yehud of the Tiferet, which is Yud Ke Vav Ke, and Malchut, which is Adnut, Ammonite. So it's Yehud, right? You align all the Sefirot in the central axe, which is the Shalom, right? This is why Nerot Shabbat are Shalom Bayit, right? And this is why the Hanukkah all converge to the central axe, the central Ner. Okay? That's the Segula, or one of the Kavanot of the Ner.
and then we think we know something.
The more we don't know,
Learn.
the more we know we don't know.
That is what
That's
you
for
say. We
sure.
have to know we are nothing. For anger, we are nothing.
Daloti Veli Yoshua is only when I know that I'm empty, I'm nothing. Veli Yoshua comes back, who saves us. That's when we really understand how dependent we are from the chesed of Hashem. And that's what triggers the chesed of Hashem.
Beautiful. Spectacular ending of the week.
Baruch Hashem. שיהיה לנו שבת שלום, וחודש טוב.
אמן, אמן.
חנוכה שמח.
אמן.
וימלא האל משאלות ליבנו לטובה. בזכות רבי מאיר בעל הנס יגן בעדנו, וישמע את תפילתנו, וימלא בעדנו, ויאיר האל את העולם באור חסדו, ויביא לנו את משיח צדקנו מתוך מידת הרחמים, בעזרת השם, ויאמר האל די לצרותינו, ויביאנו בקוממיות אל ארץ קודשנו בארץ, ארצות החיים.
Amen.
Amen.
The same for you and all your
idea,
family.
Any
Amen.
idea where I could find Mincha Gedolah today? They don't have it on the Safra schedule.
You sure they don't?
I
All
just
the
checked the
best.
schedule.
Love you all.
Call them.
Love you,
Call them.
Andy. Shabbat
Bye-bye. Thank
shalom.
you.